Hello and welcome to Soul Led CEO, the podcast. I am Kay Miller, your host, and today I am here with Edi Houldieson. Edie is a mystic, recovering religious good girl and friend. She has traversed a refining but beautiful path from fragmented suicidal ideation and religious self-loathing to a blissful integration and deeply empowering communion with God. An engineer by degree and an aesthete by heart, she now helps women heal fear so that they too can live more fully in their power and pleasure. She wields a belt of cosmic tools to dislodge with spirit places of pain and density that women believed were unhealable. Edie resides in Indianapolis, Indiana, with her little family of four who dance, eat, and play the days away. Thank you, Edie. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us, and for sharing with us your story and your work and your light.
Thanks so much, Faye, for having me. I'm truly honored, and I'm so excited for this conversation. You're one of my most favorite people to
Yeah.
talk to. It'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you. It is going to be great. So before we get into all this, tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do and how it is that you help women.
Yeah. Fundamentally, I help women move from a fear-based religion to that freeing, love-based spirituality. Growing up, I'm so grateful for the upbringing I had and for the people in my life who stewarded me. But so often, in religious and spiritual beliefs, there can be a lot of fear, and a lot of shame, and a lot of distortions that if you look at original texts and original concepts, were never meant for us to bear. That was never the intent. And so I've been on this journey of unraveling a lot of this and realizing, like, oh my goodness, like there's so many of these things we've missed the mark, and helping women to go on that journey themselves and to get to a place where the spirituality is nourishing them and bringing good into the world, first with themselves, and not just another thing that they kind of use against themselves. It is kind of a painful thing at times, mixed in with a bit, of course. But yeah, so that's the majority.
Okay. And how did you come about this for yourself? I mean, because that's a really um without getting into the patriarchy of things, which we know, that is a lot of what holds women back in terms of religious culture. Um, how did you stumble upon this? How did this become like your passion and your life's purpose?
Yeah. Um, so but I'm kind of brought up in a religious system, which I'm not mad about or anything like that. But I think I think that we often uh, seek out the material that kind of confirms whatever is already going on in our world. And so there was a fragmentation inside, struggles with self-worth. And so I sought out teachings that kind of confirmed that, kind of, and I see box for me to put all these hard things about myself into and spiritualize and codify and solidify them. And so I'll say, like, off the bat, like, a lot of it wasn't even stuff that people were shoving down my throat. It's just stuff I sought out. And then it all really solidified in college for me when I was a part of a group that, like a on-campus ministry, that if you kind of go down the list and look at the effects and what was going on, it was very cultish. And so in that space, the voice of the leader became conflated into the voice of God. And there was so much past of us. And like, I remember somebody actually like failed a semester because they were so involved in this group, and they were like ton of praise for it, just this really, just intense environment. And I have like events that really stood out in it. Like once I left college, that's when a lot of my mental health challenges, which have been brewing, and I had some minor episodes that really came to a head, and I did not figure out why. It took me years, like, oh, you have spiritual trauma. But working on the trauma and the depression, a lot of these things, they started coming up, and I started, unraveling this. But Rick, what really started all unraveling super fast was beginning to see that there are other ways to living, that there was women especially who were still women of the faith, of the Christian faith, but had marriages that were not marked by power over authority, and were living lives that were not marked by silencing their voices, or thinking that they're less than, or ignoring the feminine aspects of divinity. And I was beginning to get a taste of something new and different. And then one night I walked after finishing this afternoon Pulse Shiny Happy People about the Duggars and the craziness that was going on behind the scenes that, we as a viewer, if you're not in the world, had no idea was happening. I just had this moment of like, God, whoever you are, however, like, this is what I'm told that God is, and he functions in this way. Like, I can't do this. If you want me to live a terrible 80 years, then like be okay with other, especially women, living another 80, a terrible 80 years to like hopefully make it to heaven. Like, I can't do that. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't land in my body. And like, if even me who is flawed, I would not ask this of anybody. So you who are perfect, like, I don't even know what's happening. And I was scared because my faith was the foundation of my life. And that really began this beautiful journey of considering everything and anything and realizing that the end result of what we believe matters. Up until that point, I was just like, I was kind of just thought, oh, this is what we believe, and everything has to submit to it. So if you making use of the sale, if it's harming people in our community, like it doesn't matter because it's just what God wants. But now I fully realizing, accept the belief that, if God is love, then we can filter everything through love and look at the result. And if the end result is not love and flourishing, then it's not that. But that was my starting point of being willing to say, okay, it does matter how this impacts me, how it impacts women, how it impacts the LGBTQ community, how it impacts kids. Like, it matters now. And that just unlocked so much of this journey.
That is so beautiful. And I am certain that there are women out there struggling now, with this, finding themselves lost in a place of, where do I go? And who am I if I don't fit into this box?
Right.
And I think we all have that moment, or at least many of us do. I'm actually, I shouldn't speak for other people. I just know myself, and from what you're telling me from your story as well, that, we have this moment of this epiphany of, is this really the way I'm supposed to live my life? Is this what God wants? If God is love, then how can this be? Right. Especially in as low a point as you were at that time. So a beautiful thing that you can raise yourself up out of that. And I love what you said about, because we're human, we're all human. The leaders in these churches and our teachers, right? Everybody's human. And so that's flawed. And if the end result is not love, then it's worth being examined. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about, so in the work that you were doing, I can imagine there are some mindset roadblocks. Are there any in particular that stand out to you that you have maybe been able to overcome, or that you want to talk about, that you can talk about?
Yeah. I think the foundation of a lot of this work is understanding that doubt is not the antithesis of faith, but certainty actually is. And so a lot of us, if we're coming from this background or in these spaces, you're taught to believe that knowing the answers, feeling like we have the absolute truth, and no uncertainty is the pinnacle of reaching your spiritual high, right? Or really, the whole concept of faith is belief and trust in something that is not necessarily proven, right? And so when we can begin to unlock this humility, when we're able to breathe through the fear of not knowing, because honestly, a lot of people, I feel like, find a lot of comfort in religion. And when I say religion, it's probably maybe fundamentalism is a better word. Like, it's very black and white. Like, it's very comforting. Like, I know you're going to hell. I know I'm not. Like, I know you shouldn't do that. I know, like, I can do this. And it's comforting. We don't want the uncertainty. Yes, exactly. So that's one of the biggest mindset shifts, and like that is like something that you need to work through your whole body, so whatever you have to do to understand that the mystery and the mysticism of operating on a existing activating parts of yourself that cannot be seen, and communing with a being you can't see, or even thinking about things beyond the scene requires holding that mystery and releasing the idolization of certainty. So I'm saying that's definitely one of the biggest things. And um, I think second to that is definitely that the aspect that you even mentioned, that we're flawed, we're humans, and that we all come with biases. One of our I don't know if it's pet peeves, but maybe still autism is one for me says, I just read XYZ as it is. I just take it literally. And I'm like, so you mean like when you say you just read whatever literally, it typically means you don't get extra context, you don't understand the historical movements that are happening at the time, you don't filter it through love, and so also understanding that when we come to anything, we're claiming our interpretation. We are not robots. There is nothing we do in life that is completely unbiased, and that's okay. What we need to do is recognize that. I can pick up the Bible, the Quran, I can pick up the Talmud, I can pick up anything. And if I want to justify harming somebody, I can probably find something in there. These steps are massive. They have so many stories interwoven with them. And people have, centuries ago, people were able to justify slavery by verses literally in the Bible. And then said this, like, in that same generation, there are people who justified ending slavery with the same verses. If you sorry, I'm not too for the face. Okay, let me say I'm trying to be gentle. So I understand it's hard, like it's hard. I've been there. Yeah. So just seeing these examples of people reading the same thing and getting two different things, but if you read both of their arguments, like they're solidly middle feet, right? Understanding that at the end of the day, our biases matter, and in so many ways, we honestly create the God we worship. I know that sounds very controversial. People don't like to believe that, but like, I mean, there's so many examples around us, and so realizing that we need to that there is some kind of there's a little bit of backwards engineering, again, from that point of love and saying, okay, how can I build this theology of love, um, from this reference point, we have to come to these things with a reference point. So I think those are the two biggest mindset shifts that I've seen at foundational to this work.
That is beautiful and amazing. And I love your soapbox. Yes, you are, go off. That was amazing. Okay. What do you think is most important about, rephrase. What do you think is most important factor in terms of integrating those shamed parts? It's something that you kind of referenced earlier when we were talking about your story as well.
Yeah. Just, I think the main part is just giving them the space to be seen, I love to say that if we don't deal with something, it comes out sideways. So as much as we want to squash these parts of ourselves that we don't think should be seen and we think should be hidden, we can't suppress ourselves. They come out in other ways, and so I think the big thing is just letting them be seen. And that can look so different for different people, depending on if oftentimes they're attached to some sort of trauma, or some sort of a failure that we feel perhaps and we want to, ignore. So it could be heavy, which is why, coaches like us exist, therapists exist. And this whole concept, there's a concept of like, there's a passage, I can first be for quoting scripture, but there's a passage in the Gospels where Jesus says, God desires those who worship in spirit and in truth. And for me, that means so many things, but one of the big things is the truth as well of who we are and like all the parts. And it's not a holy thing to suppress, repress, and ignore, but like what we're being called into, no matter your faith journey, fundamentally, to grow, what we're being called into is to look every single part of ourselves straight in the face and be able to hear what they're trying to tell us and eventually pour love to them. And in doing so, if we're able to then from that overflow pour love to others, and offer that compassion, but it starts with us. But yeah, I think the first step is just witnessing them. We may feel icky, we may feel weird, we may be like, I'm detested, I wish you weren't part of me, but first just start by even acknowledging them. Not looking them out of the corner of your eye, but looking them straight in your face, I would say.
True. Also, if you think about the fact of, God made you perfect, all of you.
Yeah.
even, even the flaws, even things that you keep deep down hidden, that, like, oh man, yeah,
Mm,
that is something.
mm,
And I agree. Actually, in a Akashic reading that I did for myself, because I try to do them a couple times a week because it raises my frequency and keeps me in. It's
yeah.
very healing. And it was beautiful what they were saying about be all of you. Like,
Mm,
you are here now to be a light in a darkened world, and we need all of you,
yeah.
all of the parts of you.
Yeah.
Not just part of it, not just the part that you think is special,
Exactly.
all of you.
Exactly.
And be
Exactly.
not afraid of
I
that.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's that was a humbling experience because it's so fun to realize so much like how much to risk is is creating these behaviors because if we're able to pause and say, who am I to think that as I am is not enough? Like, who am I to tell that who created me like this and who has walked me through these experiences and is, restoring and making use of these things? Who am I to say that they can't be used? If, all these other people have been used and all these crazy stories and hard things have been used, like, am I really that special that it can't be used, and that it can't be, that these parts can't be integrated? I don't say that to any shame because they're it's that sometimes to tell us hear the other counterbalance of like, hey, this is also like this is also self-protect, like Cover said, like there's the gentle side and also like, hey ma'am, like you're not that special. You are so special and you're
Right.
not that special
Right.
in the best possible way. You're not alone, like
Right.
balance, don't hold in those. And plug
Mhm.
for the Ashik readings, like totally
Mhm.
transformational. Like that set me on just like accelerated my spiritual journey. And like it's been so beautiful even since then to just really be connected with like my guides and Christianese speak, the cloud of witnesses, it's totally my people, by the way, like, this stuff is all written out there. But so look for that. Thanks, Kate. That was awesome. Just want to say that.
That makes me so happy to hear that.
So
Yeah.
powerful.
I
So
love
powerful.
doing them. They're great. So why is it important now to reclaim our sovereignty from religious distortions?
Yeah, and then go out
It
there.
is now the
Okay.
time.
Right, but we are better now. I'm just talking. But there it is. And we got to like kind of this new era conversation, and I'm now really feeling how the shit is happening in this realm as well. Like, we are entering a new stage of spirituality completely. And those who have had more of an open mind and more of an embodied connection have been there and have been leading the way. And now it's coming to the institution, the religious institution. So we can see, again, my perspective is Christian. So yeah, I'm gonna speak from that. Hopefully it's not too triggering for anybody. But um like we see that people are leaving the church in droves, and women at a higher rate, and women really compose most of like a majority of church attendance, and they're volunteers, everyone's running these things, but there's
Yeah.
this collective awakening of recognizing that things are not right, not all is not well here, and then not everybody, not every church, not every institution, but on the whole, there's a lot of things that are deeply concerning, and so um women are leaving, but we're seeing a rise in spirituality and mysticism and occultism, and people are hungry for the truth. People are hungry for what's beyond the veil. And so there is no better time right now to step into this narrative, to not only share Lana and the questions you have, to the intuitive nudges you're trying to keep down because they would rock the boat and they would disturb, everything really for many of us who are coming from this place, our community, but our kids' friends, even our favorite kids' schools, our college is all wrapped up in this um system. And so it can be so scary to even think that I may walk a different path, or I may explore this, or I may have questions. So,
Mhm.
um, kind of all over the place. But in terms of the timing, I'll say that this is a collective thing happening right now for sure. So if you're feeling this, like it's so fun to recognize that there are so many sisters across the world who are also feeling that same thing. You're not crazy, you're not rebellious, you're not a Jezebel, like you're not all these things. Like this is like God trying to reach you. And God is doing that across the globe. So first I'll just say on a collective scale, like this is a movement happening. And just and on the individual scale, um there was never a bad day to step into more sovereignty. I believe fully that as more and more women step into their sovereignty, the world will become a better place. Like so many
Mhm.
social ills that we're experiencing will begin to be eradicated. The world cannot be completely healed with anybody less than their fullest self, and anybody not on that path, anybody not on the path of inviting more of your sovereignty and your power, right? Like, it's how many businesses, how many nonprofits, how many ministries, how many whatevers are locked up in the hearts of women who think they're just empowered, who think that they're not allowed to speak or teach, women who love the care they provide to their family, but are running themselves ragged and not supporting, have no time for visioneering, for
Mhm.
pouring into themselves first and pouring into the world. So
Mhm.
like on a macro scale, that this is a movement in the way it's like a beautiful, I told one of my associates, like it's like a tsunami of gold, and it's not coming to destroy anything that is beneficial for anybody, but it's coming to raise us all up and just usher in this new era, and individually, like, and even without the collective soon coming individually, like, you're precious, and there's so much power within you, and any day is a good day to celebrate that. But I don't know if I answered the question.
No, Edie, that was beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for just your wisdom and your passion on that, because you are so incredibly right. And I feel like that's why I do what I do, helping women run a soul-led business and really shifting the mindset to allow themselves to be able to do that, is because I truly believe that the more we are living in our power, the more we are living in our whole integrated self, the more we
Yes.
are living in that sovereignty and allowing that to like propel us in life,
Yeah.
like that makes the world a better place. That is the world that I want to live in when we
Okay.
are all doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so thank you for all of that. And yes. So on that note, let's say for women who are struggling to find, they're on that precipice. They don't know where they fit in. And it's a really low point.
Yeah.
What is your advice for them?
Yeah. Surround yourself with examples of women who seem to be kind of on the other side. So that if you see where you're going, and your path will be different, and you might end up in a different place, but see that it's worth it. And that's what really helped me, like I mentioned, seeing like, oh, okay, like what I'm hovering for, the different life I'm not, or like just for clarity, is possible. People have gotten there, and that's a huge thing. I know they also require muting certain accounts, not participating in certain conversations, like even taking a break from church. If you're in church and you're so less than it doesn't feel like maybe you're triggered and me and confused. That's like we're in those conversations that you're not ready to have yet. So, you need to think through that as well. But I think really kind of clearing the space for you mentally, emotionally, to really tune in to your inner wisdom and how God is connecting with you directly is a huge thing. And
Mhm.
then I think holding on to the concept of spirit and in truth, that it's not about parroting, it's not about mirroring, it's not about adhering to a set of to what this set of pastors thinks your life should look like or your spirituality should look like, but it's about pursuing the truth. And if there is a fundamental belief that let's see, and I'm not, if you end up in a space you don't believe in that either, that that's your journey too. And I will say, like, if you can anchor in, if you want to anchor in the belief that God is love and God is truth, right? Then with those things, you can't miss the mark. In pursuing truth, you can't miss something. And if I was really as big and vast as we would guess by looking at their creation, then you are infinitely held. There's no place in the cosmos you can go without running into God. And so just remembering that you're held in the process, and that if God is really who God says they are, then you have nothing to fear in the journey, and in the progress you're making, and surrounding yourself with people, even just social media, people who may not even know you, to help bolster that. And also, Kay and I would love to connect with. I will say that explicitly, I'm sure explicitly, not trying to sell you or lead you, how people do that, but like, we've been there, we're there, we're working through that, and like, we're happy to be as well. Just somebody that is holding that intensity for you too. So I think those are the big things and starting that journey. I have a gate. I just mentioned not trying to sell anything, but I created this specifically for this woman I have. It's called the Recovering Good Girls Guide to Moving from Burnout to Bliss. Need to rebrand that name.
Oh, I like the name though.
Okay, that's
Recovering Good Girl, like we are, I think, there's probably everybody listening is probably a recovering good girl. So you're good. Yeah.
That is, so I created that generally as the spiritual foundations for why pursuing your bliss and your peace is following the voice of God. And I mean, I pull in scripture. I hope, like, if that, if you need that scaffolding to digest this. And so, I have a webinar coming up as well that will be recorded by the time this is out. It'll be posted. You can watch that as well. So, and that'll be free. So just do that now. But there'll be resources. I have some resources as well to just help you anchor and know that you're not alone, and that what you're doing is not just something that God is not going to be mad about, but something that God is delighting in, as an image bearer.
Absolutely. I love that you said delighting in, because that is 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And that was going to be my next question, was some resources. So you already hit on that. That is great. And I will put all of those links below on the video so that you can know where to find Edie, and also where to get registered for those webinars and contact her about that resource as well. The Good Girls Guide to, what was it again? Good Girls Guide to
Moving from Burnout to Bliss. Yeah.
I love it. I say don't change the name. I love the name. It's great.
That's easy.
Yes. Okay. And so do tell our listeners, though, where they can go to learn more about you other than the website and the webinars. Like, where do you hang out?
Yes, I love hanging out on Insta. So if you have there, Garden in the store. And I sent a message to everyone who follows, just to check in and say hello. But feel free to DM me directly. Like, I love having a conversation. Again, not trying to lead into anything. Honestly, I'm not even taking you out of lines right now, or trying to sell anything. I'm my rebuilding the foundation of my business. But I just love connecting with women and just hearing your stories. So yeah, take me up on Instagram.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. If you could leave us with one message for women who dream of bringing their soul-led business to life, like those women that you mentioned that are going to be leading the charities and the volunteer work and all of these things that we need so desperately in the world, what would it be? One message.
I think it would be, I have one, but it might be rejecting my own current journey. But I'll say it. Nothing else. But I would say, build up with God, and not in the spiritual bypassing of I'm praying on it, aka I'm not doing any of the work, I hope it will fall into my lap. But truly sense into how God is communicating to you through your body and through intuits and however else. And I guess the underlying thing I'm saying with that is, don't be afraid of it looking different than what is expected. Right now, the first kind of most people, it's like the first step is into coaching straight, and tell them that I'm there. But allow God to expand your vision, and if it's to be that, beautiful, and if it's to be something else, allow it to be. And to that creativity.
Mm-hmm. Tune into that creativity. Yeah, totally agree. Don't be afraid of intuition. It is our feminine power. And I think more of us need to learn how to lean into it and not be afraid.
Yeah.
So Thank you, Edie. Thank you so much. So much. And we'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, bye everybody.